When my wife returned from her girls' trip, something about her energy felt different. She was distant, distracted, and barely engaged in our conversations. I tried brushing it off as post-travel exhaustion, but deep down I felt a storm brewing. That evening, she sat across from me at the dining table, nervously twisting her fingers. With a faint, rehearsed smile, she said the words that froze my heart, "I think we should just stay friends." I stared at her in disbelief. The woman I had shared my life with, my dreams with, was now casually downgrading our marriage to a friendship as if years together were nothing more than a passing phase. My chest tightened, but I steadied myself and asked why. That's when she hesitated, her eyes darting away, before finally admitting she had met someone on the trip. Her words felt like knives. She didn't even try to sugarcoat it. She said he made her feel alive again, that she realized she had been missing out, and that our relationship had grown too comfortable. She claimed she didn't want drama, just a clean transition into being friends. I clenched my jaw, holding back the flood of emotions rushing through me. Instead of exploding, I simply said, "Actually," and paused, letting her lean in curiously. "You don't get to decide that anymore. I already know what's been happening, and I've been preparing for this moment." The color drained from her face instantly. She wasn't expecting resistance. I calmly explained that her phone had revealed more than she thought: late-night texts, secret calls, and flirty pictures from her trip. I had stayed silent, waiting to see how honest she would be. Now that she had chosen the path of betrayal, I was ready with my response. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I stood up, walked to the bedroom, and returned with a folder. Inside were copies of the conversations, financial transactions she tried to hide, and even a hotel receipt from the trip. I placed it in front of her and said, "This isn't about being friends. This is about consequences." Her hands trembled as she flipped through the papers, realizing I knew everything. She started crying, begging me to talk it through. She insisted she didn't mean to hurt me, that it was just a mistake she wanted to explore. But her earlier confidence had already betrayed her. She wasn't sorry until she got caught. I reminded her that marriages aren't toys you pick up and drop whenever you feel bored. When she realized my resolve, she shifted from guilt to anger. She accused me of being cold and unloving, of pushing her into someone else's arms. I let her rant, then firmly told her that blame-shifting wouldn't erase what she had done. I had given her my loyalty, and she had gambled it away for cheap thrills. I told her the papers were already in motion. Divorce documents were drafted, the lawyer was waiting for my signature, and she would be leaving the house within the week. Her tears turned into full-blown panic. She tried to backtrack, saying she didn't mean any of it, that she was just confused. But it was too late. I reminded her of her own words just minutes earlier. She wanted to just stay friends. I told her she got her wish, but from this point on, we would only be acquaintances bound by legal signatures. The look on her face was a mix of shock and fury. She lashed out, yelling that I was overreacting, that I was throwing everything away over one mistake. I calmly reminded her that betrayal isn't a mistake, it's a choice, one she made repeatedly. And now, I was making my choice too. In the following days, she tried every tactic: apologies, promises, even attempts to guilt me by bringing up our history. But I stood my ground. I had learned that love without respect is a trap, and I refused to live in one any longer. When the day finally came for her to leave, she stood at the doorway with her bags, glaring at me as if I had wronged her. But I felt no regret. She had expected me to crumble, to accept friendship after betrayal, but instead, I took control of my life. As the door closed behind her, I felt an unfamiliar calm wash over me. It wasn't just the end of a marriage, it was the beginning of a life where I no longer allowed betrayal to define me. She had lost me, and in her loss, I had regained myself.